the South Korean government has declared a war officially against drugs. Nowadays, the biggest drugs among students is meth and fentanyl.
Fentanyl?
Yeah. They're actually going to give like death sentences and
Singapore.
life sentences to
Like Singapore?
distributors. Yes,
So we didn't have death sentences.
we do.
But in Korea, a lot of people are addicted to drinking as well.
Alcohol,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing. I feel like Koreans have an addictive personality, which is
That's
why I
why
really
you
think it's
can't-
dangerous for...
That's
why.
true.
Yeah.
Really?
No, it depends on the brain.
Because we drink together. Like
Yeah.
they say,
Heard.
go to
Intense.
smoke breaks together.
Bringing Korea one slice closer to the world with extraordinary and fun toppings. Welcome to KPC Korean Pizza Club, and I'm your host David Kim. Nice to see you guys here again with our regulars. By now you might be tired with that. Just kidding.
No.
Yeah. Let's give the intro this time.
The best group. Hi, my name is Anna. I'm Korean.
He said, let's skip the intro.
No, she has to do the plug intro.
Korean YouTuber, and I'm on YouTube as Anna Lee, and also I own navashop.com. Thanks, David, in advance.
I run a YouTube channel called Kelsey the Korean. Thank you.
And Soobin.
Oh, nice. Nice and
You
short.
can't skip the intro, David.
The reason why I wanted to skip the intro is because we have a very serious topic this time. So the last episode was about luxury goods and all that kind of stuff. But this time it's a little bit serious, problematic, controversial. So there has been a recent war against drugs in South Korea.
Yep.
Drugs are on the rise, and recently, this is a quote by the Presidential Office and Judiciary Department and the police force joined together. It said the South Korean government has declared a war officially against drugs. That's the state right now. For your info, Korea is well known to be a drug-free, clean country. Till now, the reputation has been like that, and it was percentage-wise. But drugs are no longer a story of just gangsters and illegal people nowadays, because it's actually permeated deeply into the society recently. And the number of drug users have jumped 75% over the past decade, and they are feared to grow faster. And recently, a very shocking event that shook the country was, there were like small events here and there with drugs, but in Gangnam Daechidong, in the academy area where students go to academies, there were distributors distributing drinks called Mega ADHD.
Oh my God.
And apparently there was meth inside the drinks. And the distributors were handing them out because they were saying, oh, this is good for your concentration and you'll get better grades.
Oh my God.
That's mad.
This is real.
That's crazy.
And they got busted. So they're all like now in the police station right
Were they
now.
charging them or they're giving them
No,
out?
they were just giving them out because...
What? Because they want them to be addicted?
Yes, students these days are on the rise as being regular customers, and it's becoming a huge problem. So nowadays, the biggest drugs among students is meth and fentanyl.
Fentanyl?
Yeah, those two.
Fentanyl doesn't make you concentrate, though.
Yeah, the fentanyl is not for the concentration thing.
Okay.
The meth was like falsely advertised
Yeah.
as
That's
that.
like really, really bad. Fentanyl
Yeah,
is really
so
bad.
fentanyl is like actually, it's not
It's
even
like
natural.
really addictive. And
Yeah,
like,
it's used
can
for
kill you.
people.
Is that like
Kill
heroin
you.
level? Heroin level
It's
bad?
stronger than
stronger
heroin.
than heroin.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's used originally for medical purposes to terminally cancer diagnosed
They
people.
give it to them like it's morphine.
Yeah. So it's becoming a huge problem.
Oh, no.
And Korea is exploring this new dark phase.
Era,
And the government is now taking it serious now that it's infiltrated the children and
That's so
kids.
crazy.
But why do you think this huge increase has happened?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to discuss right now. What's the reason? Like, first of all, have you ever been exposed to drugs or like suggested or recommended of?
Not in Korea.
But I
no.
thought the supply chain is really hard to establish in Korea. So are we getting it from China or
It's gonna
Russia
be-
or like by ship?
It's
or?
all China. Yeah. According to statistics, it's all getting shipped by China.
Okay.
And the distributors are selling it here through Telegram.
Okay.
Telegram.
Yeah. So it's very easy. Like you could literally get meth or weed or whatever now if you just install Telegram and
Yeah,
type in.
I read this article where
Yeah.
you just ask for it on Telegram and they deliver it like near you
Yes.
and you pick it up or something. I'm
Right.
like,
So there's a professional word for it. It's called 던지기.
Okay, to
drop.
throw?
You throw
You
it.
drop
Yeah, you throw it and you like make an appointment.
Yeah.
Like I'll drop it near the
Post office or something.
And
Yeah.
everyone pays in like crypto. or
Crypto,
Bitcoin.
yes,
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
So it doesn't
my
get tracked
God.
at all.
Yeah, so this is happening.
Yeah,
this
I
year.
have a friend who was talking to a guy on a dating app Tinder, and then apparently he was being like, "Oh, do you take any like drugs?" And then she was like, "No," and then he was like, "Oh, like sometimes I like go pick up in Itaewon."
What?
Like, he does-
He's Korean?
Yeah, he's Korean.
Picks up what?
Drugs, like you go to a certain spot, you like they say come behind this like lamp post and
Yeah.
I'll have it like a package small there, it's like ready for you to pick up. He says he gets it.
That's
Itaewon.
exactly how
That's
they do
wild.
it. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but it sounds like it's not even regulated. So you don't know if you're getting meth
Of
or
course
like
not.
fucking
That's the,
what or
that's
what.
know what you're
that's the
getting.
always
Yeah.
risk that you take.
With any, yeah.
Yeah, with any black market stuff, that's always the risk that you take.
Right.
Yeah.
And I heard that it's, especially nowadays, it's becoming a problem because it's been circulated in like the student areas. But normally it's mostly widespread in Itaewon, Gangnam, or the club areas.
Yes.
So a lot of people get recommended to do it in the clubs or like in
Yes.
front of the bathrooms of the clubs.
Club
People like
bathrooms.
hand you out like you want some.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been to clubs and they never have you experienced that, Anna?
I've heard in Gangnam clubs this happens. Yeah.
Oh, I guess they target people that look like they do drugs or something. 'cause
I
I've never
mean,
been asked.
Just a few years ago, there were Burning Sun.
Yeah.
That was Burning
Yeah.
Sun. So, yeah. And there was this very famous club called, I can't say the name, but there was this private club. And a lot of celebrities went there. And it was very infamous for like everybody doing weed or like other cocaine stuff.
Oh my
there.
God.
Yeah, well, I mean, even not just celebrities. I know a lot of like other people who were just regular, like just people who they did it. I heard stories.
Yeah. So it's very.
Giving it to
Oh, and
students,
also in the
that's-
hip hop sphere in Korea, I know this like family friend, and he went into 고등 래퍼, and he knows a lot of aspiring rappers and also like established rappers, and it's like everyone just does weed.
Yeah.
and I don't know where they get it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Kelsey, it's actually really easy.
It's, yeah,
It's
yeah.
really easy.
actually
Yeah.
very easy.
I feel like that's the easiest one to
Yeah.
Weed,
Yeah.
Oh,
Everything's
I mean,
easy.
weed is not like that harmful, like, but fentanyl, it's like bad.
Yeah. So speaking of rappers, there was this one rapper that actually confessed on screen and came out that he's addicted to, I think it was heroin or fentanyl or something, and he wanted rehab. So he like actually went to the police and like went to the
Confessed.
broadcasting station, but. After that, he went through rehab, but he was caught again doing it. And that whole documentary of him, it looks horrible. He's like shuddering in the corner. And he's
Oh,
like,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
rehab
yeah.
looks like, the withdrawal.
Yeah. Withdrawal from heroin is apparently like the
Yeah.
worst thing
Yeah.
a human can experience. right?
Yeah, and I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah.
And apparently, a lot of hip hop rappers came out with diss tracks saying that it's either you do drugs or not in the hip hop sphere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine.
And those ones that choose to do it have their own circle and they hype each other up and they have like a bond among drugs.
okay.
Yeah, it's a community, I
So they
guess.
jerk each other like, let's do drugs.
Yeah, and some of the
so cool.
some of the known people like I wasn't Nafla or someone. They went into jail for a lot of
a lot of
drug-
rappers who had these
Yeah, like-
incidences.
I think it's definitely like peer pressure too. Like there's people who would never do it, but then they hang out with these types of people.
Yeah, and it seems so
and
normal.
they want to connect, like, you know, because they might be more of a higher profile figure.
Right.
And they want to be closer with those people. And since those people are doing it, they naturally, you know, end up doing it.
Yeah, so like in the old days when I was doing DK News and stuff, all the news about drugs were either celebrities or high profile people doing it in like secluded areas and stuff. But now that it's becoming widespread
Like students.
to students and average people, it's becoming a huge problem. And I'm actually surprised that you guys didn't get personally approached by like a dealer or someone in the clubs.
No, genuinely
No,
never
no.
happened. I will talk about it here if
So
I
maybe
do.
like maybe the media is like exaggerating a little bit.
Maybe, but they've got
One thing I experienced is not recently, like a year ago, I got clinically diagnosed with ADHD. So I received these like Concerta medication, which is actually like substance wise similar to meth.
Meth, yeah.
But it's like a different chemical variation and blah, blah, blah. And the doctor was so careful about distribution. He's like, if you lose it, I won't be able to give you until that time passes because I
Yeah.
might be selling it to
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
Because there are parents who would literally buy ADHD pills for their kids who don't have ADHD.
Yeah, because it makes you
boosts their-
focus.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's so fucked.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Yeah.
Maddie.
Yeah. According to some statistics, it says like the recent Korean drug users are mostly in their 20s and 30s. It even goes up to 60% of all the users in that age range. So,
Really?
Yeah.
60% have
60%. No.
20 to 30s is like the
among the
60%.
users,
Okay.
60% is 20 to 30s. But yeah, going back to the why do you think young people nowadays are spreading their hands towards drugs all of a sudden? What?
I don't know. I thought we were
It's
so
just
conservative.
online, I guess. It's just so much easier to access all this like Western media.
I want to talk about this too because when you go traveling in some countries, like for example, weed is legal in Thailand and also in
California.
most parts of America.
Yeah.
So most of the times when they go to visit, they will try it out of curiosity, and then that's when they can kind of get like addicted to it because they're
But
not
weed is not addictive from what I've heard.
or like they want it,
stuff
they
too.
want it,
It's like a
other
gateway.
stuff too. It's like a gateway. So from what I know, a lot of people they first try it when they're traveling overseas, and then especially with Korea because it's so restricted, you can't.
Yeah.
You're gonna get into such big trouble. But when you're doing it overseas, it's not like when you come back to the airport, someone's gonna be literally checking you, like So that's the reason why I feel like a lot of Korean people try it out of curiosity. And then they go out and try it in different countries. And then
I've heard a lot of stories, people going to the Netherlands or America doing this and that. And they're like,
I mean,
it's not
in
a big
regards
deal.
to Korean students, they can't really travel worldwide yet. So it's like,
Yeah, that's true.
I guess maybe with like things like crypto, it's like easier making stuff for easier to buy stuff online without getting tracked. Maybe that's a factor.
So, I mean, I don't trust mainstream media, but apparently this article states that one of the reasons is, I don't know about this, extreme mental stress stemming from a high level of competition in South Korea. Do you think that...
Well, that's always
been there.
Yeah, it's not an excuse, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
always been there.
Yes, I didn't do drugs because I was in extreme competition, right?
People will just have drink instead or smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
They're gonna like
I think
trying
that's
to
why
be a
people
rebel.
in Korea they drink and smoke so much more than I feel like a lot of other
Yes.
countries because a lot of drugs are not legal here, so they tend to go towards like alcohol or like different types.
Yeah,
to
whenever my
relieve their stress.
friends come from LA, they're like, there's no weed here, and they smoke like a pack a day. Yeah, there's like nothing else to do.
Like, a lot of
It's
my-
like so bad for them. They're like,
A lot of my friends in the States they smoke more than they drink, but then
Right.
in Korea it's like a lot of people just drink.
Yeah, which is
That's
also
their
a
only
drug.
way. Yeah.
I guess this point is debunked by our experience. Like we had mental stress too and high competition, but maybe because nowadays kids all have smartphones and have access
easier
to
access.
Telegram. That's I guess
That's the
catalyst.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference.
And I think there's more like knowledge spread around because like when I remember 5 years ago, there was like, oh, GD got caught doing weed or something.
Yeah.
The comments were like, oh my God, weed is so bad. But now these days they're like, weed is not so bad technically. Like
Yeah,
the
alcohol's
comments,
bad, yeah.
the comments are like
changing.
more like educated, I guess.
They're slightly more aware, I think.
yeah, and
Then why would they go for fentanyl?
Yeah.
another reason the article states is the increased exposure to drug-related online content in general. So I myself have seen a lot of webtoons with like themes about drugs, and also like on Netflix. There's
Netflix,
Yeah,
so
Netflix.
many
Netflix.
drug-related
like-
content.
I think that could be a factor.
Yeah, because in the past decade, I don't think I've seen anything related to drugs on media.
In Korean media, yeah.
Yeah, in Korean media. But nowadays, we have so many Korean original Netflix series that have drug-related stuff.
Yes.
And maybe that's why kids are just watching that kind of stuff and
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
A lot more like celebrities being caught with drugs in the news, and people are like, oh, what's that?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
UI most recently.
UI, and yes, that was a huge scandal.
he
So
was
it wasn't
caught with-
even just like one thing.
Yeah,
it was like,
propofol, cocaine,
Wow.
like everything.
Also, and there was like that Don Spike guy.
Yes.
He had like a huge party.
He has a
at the
meth
hotel.
party.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
In a
Okay.
hotel room.
What I've seen that's very interesting about Korea is like they're so against like weed and like like this the weakest drug you can ever get.
Yeah.
And natural too. But when they actually do drugs, they go to like
The
meth.
hardest.
and
The most extreme.
fentanyl. That's such. I don't know what it is.
Like,
you know?
they're like shooting themselves up
Oh my
with needles. Like, I
God.
can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Ironic.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's like the worst things you can do to yourself.
So in Korea, if you do weed versus meth, it's the same amount of like punishment.
Shock.
Punishment.
Yeah.
I don't know the technical
Legal,
things about
okay.
that. I don't know.
Because I
But
guess in America, the punishment will be
It's
different.
different. different. Yes, it's different if it's weed versus like heroin, and also it's
That's
different
it,
if you
yeah.
do it or if you sell it.
I think it's obviously going to be different, but what I know is like if you're the distributor, you get punished
Yeah.
more. That's the
I remember from all the celebrity news over the past few years, the one that was the most shocking to me was Vicky Yuchun and the Hwangana.
he did meth too, right?
He did meth too. They did meth together. You
Right.
know,
In
the
Korea.
really
Yeah,
rich
yeah,
girl.
In Korea.
Yeah.
In Korea, and that was the
How did
most
they get
shocking to me.
caught?
Someone usually rats them out.
Yeah.
That's how the police
There
operate.
was a video recording of that girl also like clearly high on something. And she
Yeah,
was, like,
so the
rambling.
police usually catch someone. It's a weak link, and
Yeah.
then say like, "I'll give you like a deal. Give
Yeah.
me the name of the distributor."
less time.
and then they get the books, and then they get all the.
And the
stuff.
funny thing is, he did a press conference being like, I have never done drugs in my life.
and you see his face, and it's like,
Yeah, he was like crying. And then he does all this shady stuff like bleaching his hair suddenly. And then he has all
Right.
these like marks on his legs. And like, it was like, oh, you actually did it.
Did you actually see the picture when he was doing the press conference?
He looked awful.
It was like
Really?
a
Yeah,
he
literal
looked
meth head.
awful.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's crazy. Never do meth, guys. That's crazy.
And 동방신기, that was like my childhood.
Your idol.
Yeah.
TVXQ?
Yeah, TVXQ.
TVXQ, yeah. I mean, I was exposed to meth in a very, very early age too. My favorite drama was Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, they make crystal meth.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a justification that you're exposed to more content to drugs that you are.
That you like go
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
But I think a little bit because when I was in middle school, we didn't have any articles about drugs at all. So like the worst thing we can do is like, I'm gonna smoke or I'm gonna
Yeah,
drink
yeah.
soju.
Yeah.
But now kids see like these celebrities doing drugs, like these mainstream celebrities. Of course, the curiosity is gonna go
Yeah.
up. I think.
They're like, what is that? Why is everyone doing
Yeah,
it?
exactly. Like I didn't even know
It's
it
forbidden.
existed. It
Yeah.
existed. Like,
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this point? This article also says it's driven by coronavirus-induced depression. What is this article?
What?
Who wrote this?
I don't know. The reasons is one of it is COVID-19 depression.
No, that is not a thing.
People are
Okay,
indoors.
like mental health problems are like going up in our generation.
But it's like the endemic now.
Yeah.
No, but like during that period, it spiked. So
Well, just go get actual antidepressants.
No,
Why
it's
would you
only a certain really small amount of people when like you said you watch Breaking Bad, but you're just like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
But for people it's like a different personality. They're like more curious about the unknown.
yeah.
Well, and also during COVID-19, you couldn't really go out with a lot of people, especially in Korea. We had such like harsh restrictions about having like more than 50 people.
Yeah, no
you
gyms.
couldn't go out to the gym or like, like clubs and stuff.
Actually, yeah, I imagine because you're locked in your house.
Yeah.
You're out of more boredom rather than depression. Maybe.
Yeah, I think
Boredom.
Yeah,
boredom
boredom.
as well. You know,
Like you
'cause-
don't have much to do.
Yeah.
You know, Korea has always been, I don't know, on the surface, very hard against drugs. Like, we're drug free, we don't tolerate drugs. But always, if you see the actual punishments, it's been quite lax too. But now they're
changing it.
changing it. They're going to like weapon up and they're actually going to give like death sentences and
Death
Singapore.
life sentences to
Like Singapore.
distributors. Yes.
So we didn't have death sentences.
We do, but
Okay, it's just
we
not
just
been
don't
given out.
execute it.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're actually thinking of that, and it's in the article. The government actually declared war against it. So it's like we're gonna make an example out of the next distributor.
People, distributors.
Yeah. So do you think this is the way to go? Do you think the government's doing the right approach to eradicating
I think
drugs?
they should do that to distributors.
Distributors.
Yeah. But maybe not to civilians who are addicted.
From the knowledge that I've had watching all these like drug shows on Netflix and whatnot, it's like one package that gets caught at Incheon. That's like one of like 100.
Yeah.
So if one gets caught, like all the other 99 gets through just
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
So it's like almost impossible to stop it coming actually into the country because they hide it in so many different packages and
Yeah,
whatnot.
but now I think the atmosphere is going to change because the whole police force set an agenda and task force for this.
But this is like a worldwide problem. Like any big country trying to stop drugs and coming into your customs, it's like impossible. It's seriously impossible.
Yeah, but I
It
definitely
will
know
happen.
Korea is getting stronger because a lot of my friends, even like vape or like nicotine,
Yeah.
Korea has like a set amount of nicotine. So a lot of people want vapes from like different countries, especially like the States. So my friends bring vapes from the States to Korea, but even that gets caught, like the amount of just nicotine in general. And that's like not even something that's like,
Yeah. considered.
But I have like a
considered.
contrary example because one of my friends from LA wanted to bring in vape, like that's weed that has THC or something.
the
He didn't
oils.
get caught.
Yeah, there's people,
People
like
just
that too.
smuggle it in.
Or people,
I've
they
seen.
just bring like gummies and
Yeah,
they put
yeah,
it
in the
in
carry-on.
the gum. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why are you laughing?
I just don't know. Yeah,
Disclaimer, we are not
We're not.
connected to any of this activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But like honestly, it's a really hard problem to solve because the criminals will always find a way.
yeah, Korea right now, the knee-jerk reaction is we're gonna put brutal force into the punishments and try to stop it. But I've seen some international comments that take a different approach, saying that rather than, I mean, of course, punishments are important too, but you should be looking out for your citizens' welfare and like their health, like more education, more rehab,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We're lacking all of that infrastructure. We literally don't have that much
Yeah.
info out there or facilities out there for drug treatment and stuff. So what do you think about that aspect?
Are there actual like drug rehabs in
I
Korea?
think probably there are. Like the fact that we don't know about
we
it,
have no idea.
I don't think there is a legit.
But I also think the direction that they take it will be so much more different than like rehab centers in the States and stuff
Yeah.
because there's so much rehab centers and so much, knowledge. But since we don't have any and the way our culture is, I
We
feel like-
shame the addicted
shame
person.
it, or I feel like it would be a different approach, in my opinion. I haven't been to rehab, but some, like
Of
just,
course, yeah.
it just makes me feel like it will be a lot of a different experience in Korea than rather somewhere else.
Yeah, but like when I go to LA or recently Vancouver, there's like huge homeless problem. And whenever I go to that certain street, I can see like syringes on the floor and
Yeah.
people are clearly high. Whereas in Korea, the homeless are usually drunk. They're alcohol addicted. But I'm really worried if they're like
Before we go on, a special thanks to the sponsor of this episode, Naked Soul, bringing Korea into your hands with authentic, curated, made in Korea products you can't get on Amazon. They have fast global shipping, and right now, as of April 1st, they are having a limited sale on super high quality BTS D Festa photo books, celebrating BTS Jimin's successful solo album release. So go check it out along with other hip Korean products you can't find anywhere else other than Naked Soul.
Boss ass
like now drug addicted, the homeless in Korea.
Yeah.
How are we gonna care for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a worldwide, like LA.
Yeah, but
like
even in LA and Vancouver, where they have a longer history of those problems, they don't have a clear set problem because people will always backlash politicians who are trying to fund rehab. They're like, don't waste our tax money.
Yeah, yeah.
And there are people who will try these things, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And now it has come to a point where in Vancouver, they don't punish homeless people for carrying around drugs. And they sometimes even dispense drugs. The government dispenses them drugs because they don't want them to go crazy and like attack civilians.
Whoa.
So it's like, I don't know if that's a good sustainable method.
Yeah, I think
but-
in the UK, if with people who are like heroin or fentanyl addicted, because the withdrawals are so severe, they go to like a center every day where they give like a really small controlled amount just to keep them like stable
yeah,
and then
yeah.
try to wean them off gradually.
Oh, that's very interesting how
Yeah.
all the different countries are taking different approaches.
Yeah.
I don't know which one's more effective, but
I feel like how you said Korea is going to become more strict. I feel like more people are going to want to go out of like the country and try to do it as well too. Just like more.
the more you try to contain
yeah, the more you
it,
try to
it's going to
contain
burst
it,
out.
it's kind of like having strict parents. The more you try to contain them, they're gonna want to do more. So, I feel like they would
Really? I don't
venture
think
off.
people would go out of their way to travel to do drugs.
A lot of people travel to do drugs.
If you have the money,
I literally have a funny story though.
People travel to do drugs.
I was backpacking once and I got to meet someone from Seoul National University. He was like one of the brightest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
And he said his next trip was India. So I got his contact and I was like, okay, yeah, let's see each other in Korea.
Yeah.
And then I contacted him when I was back in Korea and I was like, where are you? And he was like, I'm in Nepal. And what are you doing there? And I'm like, I'm high. I started to pursue the path of a composer and musician. I'm in this
like in Nepal,
spiritual-
they do like this ayahuasca magic mushroom.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
with the tribe.
that's exactly
It's a
what-
tribe thing.
psychedelics.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was he was in a tent and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, "I'm not gonna come to Korea for near future, so forget
That's so
me."
interesting.
And I was so baffled, like, "Oh, okay, it's such a promising future he had, and he just
Yeah.
got into
But
drugs.
some
and-
people think like, okay, this rat race, corporate world, like he might have been like, I just want to find inner peace, like Buddha. This Buddha is really
Through
useful.
mushrooms and weed and
He's like,
then-
what is true happiness? What does it mean to me? All this kind
Letting
of
go
stuff.
of all the material values.
all material possessions at once.
Yeah, but it's kind of sad. I've never heard from him ever since. His Kakao profile has never been updated. I don't
so
know if
interesting.
He's become wise and enlightened. He doesn't deal with cacao.
But apparently, even in the 90s, the Apgujeong Orangejo, there was still some drug cases back then, even.
Yeah, of course. Mhm.
Yeah.
It was always there, but it
Yeah.
wasn't this
Bad, yeah.
bad and on the surface.
Do you think if the older generation were to change their mindset on drugs, that it would change in Korea too, though?
But I don't think they will.
They
They're just
will
right?
never.
They
like the
won't.
older generation. What's interesting is like they're
Yeah.
so benevolent about alcohol and like smoking, but they're so like about like even my depression medication. That's like it's a brain altering drug, and I'm like smoking and drinking
It's
is
a
like,
very
altering drug too.
really bad.
Yeah.
And like this antidepressant is one of the safest ways you can actually get out of depression.
Yeah.
But then my dad would still be like, no, you can't take it because blah blah blah, and then he drinks every night. I'm like, you're alcoholic.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
think like if there was like a bunch of statistics, right, and then we were to give them to like the older generation of like
No.
just everything, do you think they would change their minds?
No,
Then?
because
I
I
don't see
literally
it, no.
had this conversation with my
Right?
mom. I'm not pro weed or anything.
But nobody has,
Yeah, I'm just neutral about it. I don't care. Like, honestly, my viewpoint is like, I like Korea to stay clean of every single drug out there. Like, we already have alcohol. That's enough for us. We don't want more extra problems coming in. So, and I know that there are researchers saying that the gateway theory is like bullshit. It's not proven, blah, blah, blah. But I've tried talking with my mom about this, and she's a firm believer of the gateway theory. And even though it's not like statistic backed or anything in her mind, she just knows by life. Like a person gets an entry into something addictive or something like out of curiosity or something forbidden.
Yes.
And it's human nature to crave for the next level and more.
Yeah, it's like gambling.
Yeah, gambling. Like I got into stocks, I got into crypto, I got into
Yeah, it's like addictive personality.
futures. I'm not going to casinos, but yeah.
Yeah, but literally because I've suffered from like mental health and I've read a lot of things. Some people just have more addiction prone brains.
Yeah, yeah.
So some people by just drinking alcohol a couple of times, they would get addicted and it's just like hereditary and stuff like that. So it depends on that person. And personally, I think we should allow medical use of weed because from my experience, when my grandmother had like chemo, she just lost all appetite. And when I was talking to like my North American friends, they subscribe weed to people who can't eat.
Yeah.
Whereas my grandma, she was given like this synthetic drug to like promote her appetite, but it didn't really work. And I've heard that weed really works well for patients who don't have an appetite. So I think like medical usage. Yeah.
Medical usage is already, I think, legalized. I think.
In most like in America, UK, and
Yeah, but
Korea.
not in Korea.
I
Weed?
think it's partly legalized now. Yeah,
like
I saw an
CBD, yeah.
article. I need to check on that, but it's partially getting legalized.
Yeah, for people who are like in extreme pain, like I think it's just give it to them. Like,
Yeah.
But at this point, there's no point in actually debating about like the gateway or weed or whatever because it's already permeated here.
Yeah, it's-
like
Yeah, I
meth
also
and
agree with-
fentanyl is here.
So maybe we should discuss about like the punishment. Which route are we going to take
but like so Singapore has like the death penalty
Right.
in the country.
China too.
for users?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
I-
if you're a user, if you're caught with it, I think you get death.
I literally
think.
know were executed in China for doing drugs. I literally know.
Are you joking?
Yeah.
Wait, do they hang them or
They were four
wow?
Oh my god.
and they got the death penalty.
Really?
Yeah. So I heard that some Americans were bailed out. But
Yeah, of course. They don't want to start a war.
Yeah, but some people from like weaker countries,
Yeah.
I don't know the end
Oh
of them,
my
but
God.
they literally got the death sentence
Oh my god.
from China. So
That is crazy.
do you think the
People-
China-Singapore model will help our society?
I think it will definitely scare like it's the little ones, the younger ones from doing it.
I think Korea is
Yeah, sounds
referencing them right now.
efficient.
Yeah.
I think just like more harsh set, but not just like the death.
Death penalty.
Yeah, and not that, like harsh sentence is okay, maybe it might regulate it, but not that for me personally.
And not just like the drug market, it's not just because it like ruins a person's health, their entire life or whatever, but it's just like the gang activity that comes with this. That's so dangerous.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's where all the criminals gang up on each other. Like, this is my turf, I will make more money than you. And then all these.
So it's actually
fights
not
start.
about like the weed and its effect itself. It's like the ones that
It's
are
the markets.
distributing them, they have negative effects on our society. And we're giving more
Then more money.
power sales and
Yeah.
everything to them. So that's
If you
a
watch
good point.
Narcos,
Oh yes, Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
Puta.
So if you're like putting money, giving that money to that industry, you're only making the problem worse. Yeah, the black market and all the criminal activity that comes with that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, today wasn't supposed to be like a debate against whether like drugs are good or not, or weed pro whatever. But I think in general that applies to Korea because it's so forbidden here. The only people that can get access to it and will take the risk to get it are the gangs.
But they make so much money. That's why they exist, because they make ridiculous amounts of money. The money is too good.
ways to get out of a lot of stuff too.
They can bribe everyone off.
Like hire officials, and then the higher officials will talk to the police.
Yeah.
That's why with the Burning Sun situation, there was just so many people involved.
Yeah.
And
It's still unclear what
They
was
just have to shut it down because like the higher ups were involved and
Literally, the higher ups were involved in the drug, all that cases. So I'm still unsure what happened there in the Burning Sun.
it was probably someone related to the staff or whatever, and they didn't want to blow him. So
but then they're also like, connected with the police. The police aren't capturing certain people. They're only capturing like the wrong people who are more like public figures. So it's just like a whole thing.
But it's just like, it pisses me off when it's like, okay, if you do drugs in your own time, whatever, that's on you. But it's like, the stories of like people spiking girls' drinks with GHB or like giving students meth. Like, if you're gonna do it, just do it on your own by yourself. Don't just be giving it to other people.
that's becoming a big problem too. Like how women become prostitutes, they make them addicted to drugs.
Yeah, so they get addicted and withdrawal.
Because then you need the pimp to supply you.
So that was used in like the 60s, 70s to
I see.
That's actual
control
evil.
prostitutes.
Yeah, that's evil.
stuff. So that's evil.
Yeah.
A lot of dark sides.
Yeah.
I don't know how to continue.
What a
this.
lighthearted episode.
Well, I was watching this Netflix series on like mushrooms and weed, like sort of those naturally like attainable drugs.
Yeah.
And they've been like banned since like the US had this huge war where they considered it like such a hippie thing.
President Nixon literally declared war on drugs.
But then now they're clinically testing mushrooms and weed to like for medical purposes. And actually recently in Korea, my doctor was like, do you want to try this new inhaler for acute depression? And it's like a mushroom like extract, like the active
In
part
Korea?
of. Yes, but that is not insured yet. It's very, very new. And I would be like one of the first hundreds of people to do it. And that one is like so expensive that one vial, you inhale it in like a lab under the doctor's like supervision.
Whoa.
And he was like, you do it when everything else doesn't really work and you're like suicidal, blah, blah, blah. And like one vial is like 600 USD and you have to do like 5 times. So that's really pricey. It's not insured at all. Yeah, but it's an option.
Oh, but speaking of prices, I've heard that a lot of people, the common misunderstanding about drugs in Korea is that a lot of people think it's extremely expensive, but apparently it's not.
How much is it?
It's of course it's more expensive than the States and everywhere else, but it's not as expensive as you
people
think.
make it out to be.
So students are able to afford it.
Oh my God.
That's how cheap it is, affordable it
Well,
is.
they have to try and make it kind of accessible.
Mainstream.
And from what I've heard, fentanyl is like a very artificially syndicated
Okay.
product. So it's very easy to make and it's very cheap.
Okay.
So Chinese people make it a lot and just
my
like
God.
mass spread it in Korea. And that's actually leading more hate towards like the China.
The anti-Chinese like
I've heard that sentiment too. And it's very ironic too because I've told you the story about the death sentence in China and you know their history with drugs, right?
Yeah,
The
opium
war and stuff. So that's why they're so
Paranoid.
paranoid and strict on it. But now they're like ruining other countries since they can't distribute it in their
Drug
own.
export country.
Yeah, like
I heard like North Korea during the war because nobody has food, everyone's starving, they're all tired. They would give meth to the soldiers.
Yeah, but that's commonly used.
Like
Like even the
in
German
Second World War,
army,
they gave it to German soldiers because it makes you not feel your hunger. It gives you energy, makes you stay up.
it's kind of like morphine, I guess.
Yeah,
And
also
morphine,
in,
it's
Yeah.
a downer. Meth, it
Pain.
makes you go up.
Yeah. Also in like rescue situations, like if you're like stuck in a cave and you're freaking out, they give you some meth so that you chill and you can like wait it out.
That's crazy.
So they like
Meth
use
does not
it.
make you chill.
I don't know.
It's not. Maybe they give
Maybe
like
it's some other drug.
How would we know?
No, we don't.
Yeah, but historically in Korea, weed was always here. But from what I know, like in the countryside, they used to just naturally
Have weed plants?
weed plants, and the elders would just
Get high.
smoke it while they were doing the farm work and stuff.
Yeah, but I've seen videos of North Korean defectors. They were like in the fields. There were like poppies, which are
Yeah.
like opium.
Yeah.
Poppy flowers. So you just like if you have a cold, they give you some like heroin, basically opium.
So
Yeah.
it's always been here.
Yeah.
So
I don't
it
think
just got
adults will ever like vote to legalize even weed because we value like so much hard work and integrity,
Yeah.
and we think
And
that
to
weed
keeping
makes you lazy, and
Yeah.
more people will fall under welfare, and we do not want that. So
Yeah.
I don't think people will. Somehow they like alcohol a lot, but like I don't think they will ever think weed is okay.
I wanted to say something as well because I was born and raised in the States, and ever since like junior high school and high school, that's when you're first kind of introduced to drugs. So the fact that kids in Korea are getting introduced to drugs at this age too, which is kind of mind blowing because in the
Yeah.
States, a lot of people and kids do buy drugs from like dealers and stuff.
Yeah.
But then the fact that like that's becoming into Korea, it's mind blowing for me.
Yeah.
Because
Kids.
it was just so different. Because in America, I felt like that's kind of not the norm, but like it's highly seen a lot. And now it's like in Korea, it's.
I mean, a lot of
different.
bad things happen in Korea, like 1 decade after it happens in America.
Yeah, like, literally, because I've been here for 10 years. So that is because 10 years ago, back then, a lot of my friends were doing like everything, like all the drugs that you could ever think of.
Yeah, so some conspiracy theorists are saying that the Communist Party is trying to weaken the capitalist countries out there by introducing drugs and distributing them. So everyone's following America, and America's like the big capitalist country out there that we all reference and model towards. And China and like, you know, they're like, okay, you
The
go
second
with drugs,
powers.
we're gonna stack your money and you follow as a society. So there's some conspiracies.
Yeah, there's a
out
lot
there.
of conspiracy theories.
I don't know how many Korean kids are gonna watch this or students, but yeah, just people out there. Yeah, don't do heavy drugs. It's bad for you. It's just bad for you. Yeah, it fucks up your mind basically. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about weed, but meth. I can be sure about meth and fentanyl. Don't do it.
Yeah. It's literally
firm
just
about that.
poison.
But
Yeah.
I'm also very curious about the viewers and listeners might think because we're all born like here. I mean, we live here, and there's so many other countries that are a little bit more open to it as well. So I feel like it'll be a very interesting.
Yeah, I think like on average, our
topic.
perspectives are probably
More
more
smaller.
conservative and right leaning
Yeah.
compared to a lot of other
Yeah.
I think
countries.
everyone agrees worldwide meth and
Yeah,
fentanyl
of
is not a
course,
good
yeah.
thing.
of course.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
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 Just like about regulations as well too.
Yeah.
I feel like there will be a lot of different, perspectives. But this is just our perspective. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
the comment section is gonna be pretty wild.
yeah,
So
I was just
we're
thinking
in for a
that.
ride.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But like a lot of friends that I meet in Vancouver, they all sort of have this experience of a family member being addicted, and it's just really sad that they have to deal with that. And I don't want Korea to be like that.
But in Korea, a lot of people are addicted to drinking
alcohol,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like Koreans have an addictive personality, which
That's
is why I
why
really
you
think it's
can't-
dangerous for.
Yeah, that's
That's
why.
true.
Yeah.
Really.
No, it depends on the brain.
Because we drink together. Like
Yeah.
they say,
Heard.
go to
Intense.
smoke breaks together. We do a lot of things
You
together.
see how when one fashion trend trends, like
Yeah.
everything, it's like
The
Korea is not.
whole
Yeah.
nation, the
Yeah.
mob mentality.
Well, do you think maybe we should restrict media, even though they're not romanticizing drug usage? Like, should we restrict restrict them even like using that as a theme.
Yeah,
of
but
their,
that becomes like China.
I don't think
that's
not the media,
yeah.
but just the amount of there just has to be strict of how the distributors and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. If you
Yeah.
stop censoring media content and what you can and you can, that really becomes
That
like
really,
China.
yeah,
It's a
그거는
tricky
아니고.
subject,
Yeah.
but I do agree in like the recent movements of trying to give like a death penalty to people who distribute it to kids and students.
Oh, yeah, that's
if you're
really-
caught doing that, I think that person deserves a death
Yeah, that's
penalty.
evil.
the
Yeah.
marketing is genius with like it helps with studying. Like Koreans gobble that shit up.
Yeah, they knew how to market it. Yeah.
Right.
This
So-
will make you get better grades and this will better university, all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Be like Buddha.
yeah, we don't know what you think, but if you want Korean authentic products, get it from nakedsoul.kr, nakdseoul.kr. You can
If you're gonna
get
be addicted, get addicted to consumerism.
yeah, get addicted
Not even
to
talk
Talk about spending money on stuff.
Korean products. Actually, be
Korean
addicted to
products.
K-pop. I think that's a very healthy hobby, honestly. Yeah. Yeah, so don't become a Haseng or overly creepy fan, but yeah, get a healthy hobby. Yeah, go outside, touch some grass, get some sunlight, and your worries will all be over. Just kidding, but don't do
Oh, I
drugs.
have a perspective because when I notice traveling, a lot of the communities that get addicted, like as a whole, there usually is like a lot of hopelessness. So even if I try, I wouldn't be able to advance in life. And I think a lot of Korean MZ generation are having the same mindset of like
Yeah.
this hopelessness. So maybe that encourages them to like try
out
drugs.
drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you see Kangwon and
Sad.
the gambling
Yeah.
part, that's like really depressing.
Yeah.
Depressing. David can relate.
Don't.
Don't do dirty. Don't do
A
dirty.
lot of Koreans do gamble though.
I invest. It's not gambling.
Yeah. Like literally, I feel like any. Yeah,
It's
there's a lot of
volatility.
gamble.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, but that is such a massive high. Yeah, it's such a massive high.
Or even like
yeah.
even coins and stuff like that. Crypto
See,
too.
like the whole population invested in
Everybody
coins,
did coin and crypto.
crypto, stocks.
Get
What?
rich quick.
Yeah, think what would happen if we had drugs,
Drugs,
here. This
yeah.
country
Yeah.
is gonna fall down.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay. Conclusion.
Yeah, that's conclusion. Thank you for watching Korean Pizza Club. Yeah, this was a pretty heavy topic. Honestly, I'm not that knowledgeable in this sector. I don't think everybody was perfectly comfortable about the topic too, because it's highly illegal here. So yeah, we saved our words, but I guess you guys could be free to talk about it in the comments. Tell us your opinions and your diverse perspectives. Would love to see that. And go check out
Kelsey the
Anna-
Korean on YouTube.
Subini.
Anna Lee.
and David Kim
92.
on Instagram. Stop emphasizing the 92. Yeah, please give 5-star reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Korean Pizza Club. You get early access and exclusive podcasts as well. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.